and people are looking at more growth towards the next year. Already we have achieved $25 billion this year, March end, and this has happened with a small growth. And the way I see the lot of interest and enthusiasm in the industry, I feel there will be much better performance in the coming years. I wish to tell you before I proceed that the subject that we have is in relation to all the markets. It is not particular any market. It is about the marketing, post-marketing. What are the issues that an exporter normally encounters? These are all life situations, and we would like you to know, not that you don't know some of them, but since I am handling in the forefront in the market, I wish to share so that it helps you to understand the process in the coming days. The issue of marketing is complex, but when we start doing it, we start realizing that in every step we have to face a lot of challenges. Now, normal tendency is that we have some products with our manufacturing resource, and we go to the market and we try to find out that whether these products are going to fit into my needs of business volume, price, profitability, and all that. But it is otherwise. It should be looked at in a different way. And I would like to share some of the thoughts on this so that you understand that it is not from the factory, but it is from the market. If you go from the factory and if you go with a set of products to the market, you have a preconceived idea in terms of selection of product, pricing, profitability, and all that. But you don't decide actually what the market is needing. Market tells you what the market needs. And when you see the market, you first decide maybe you don't want to go into oncology product. You don't want to go into anti-malarial product because there are too many anti-malarials in Africa, as for example. You don't want to go into cardiovascular products because there are too many SKUs. You don't want to go into anti-diabetics because glimepiride has got 1 milligram, 2 milligram, 4 milligram, and combination with metformin. So the registration cost will be very high. Considering all these, some people may say, I want to go into a large basket. Some people may say, I want to go single molecule. But your decision is based on your observation from the market. That is why when you come back and take a decision as to which product and what price, we call it market minus. But when you go from the production and you extend to the product, go to the market, we call it production plus. So it is more relevant in today's context to have an overview on the basis of market minus. You go by the information, what is happening in the market, look at the market, look at the packs, look at the price, look at the profitability, look at the competition, come back and look at your resources, what best your resource can fit into this market. That's how we can decide to the correct basket and correct pricing strategies. But after having said that, the first thing that comes, that market is selected and product is selected. And once these two are done, the first thing that comes into an exporter's mind is the regulatory challenge. I call it challenge because most of the time I find there is a sense of disappointment or a kind of frustration that regulatory issues are taking too much time, and the waiting period is so long, and we have invested money, we have paid the fees, and nothing is happening, and it goes into maybe 3, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, and at the end 1 year. Sometimes it is even 2 years, depending on the country. So suggestion is that we should look at into very deeply as to how best we can minimize this and make it more efficient. If the delay is there in registration, in regulatory issues, there may be three reasons. One, the dossier is not okay. Second, there is a long queue in that country where you are targeting. So your turn will come much later. And third, the commission or the approval committee which sits to approve this, they are not sitting very frequently. They sit they take a lot of time, sometimes 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year, depending on the country's system, internal system. In some countries, they have to be provided money. The committee members have to be paid money, and the country and the department doesn't have enough money, and so the meeting is not happening, and so there is a delay. With all that, we've tried to find out where we can minimize. On the queue, long queue, and commission not sitting is not in our hand. But what we can do, we can make this submission correctly and as much as possible compliant to the system. The ministries of different countries, they expect us to give a correct document with proper answer, the information and updated information. In regulatory, it is said, if it is not documented, it does not exist. Everything that happens, it must be documented. And the documented part only has to go to the ministry. And therefore, everything must be well justified. What is the expectation of the ministries from the exporters? They look at, is it authentic? They ask, is it credible? They find whether it is valid. And if all these are happening, then it is compliant. By saying, when we say authentic, we mean to say that the documents must not be a piece of paper. It must be genuine. And I'll explain very soon as to what it means by showing some examples. But before I proceed, let me tell you that batch must be taken and data must be available. If batch is not taken and your manufacturer is saying, you go ahead, submission, he will sign agreement, manufacturing contract, he will give an even price. But when you ask the documents, you may find that certain vital information is not available. At that time, you may find even the batch is also not been taken. He has done it theoretically. I'm not saying every time, but sometimes this is one of the stumbling blocks. Even if the batch is taken, all the data, relevant data must be available. Half the way, if he says that stability is only for 3 months, but the government wants 6 months, I have to wait for 3 months, you are stuck. You can't, that means your plan is changed. So before you proceed with the manufacturer, with your list of products, first please check that relevant information about the dossier is with him or not. Go with the TOC, the table of content, which is at the first page. And piece by piece, you ask him, do you have all those? The basics like COPP, free sale certificate, GMP certificate, these are all admin documents, but technical documents like validation data, like stability data, like bioequivalence data as and when required, all these are not available. So if he says, I will do it, you go up to chalu to kar dijiye, main baad mein dekh lunga. That doesn't work. It must be available at the beginning, at the time of submission. Now, by saying authentic, what they do actually, they actually verify your documents. When you give a manufacturing license, when you give a COPP, you can't give just a photocopy, a Xerox copy of that. We all know that original manufacturing license cannot be shared. It has to be copied. But if you just do a Xerox copy, it will not work. They need a valid document. So they say you make it notarized in some countries. So you go by Notarization at the right-hand corner, all this happens. These are all known to you. The notary stamps and all that, it is validated and it is authenticated. In some countries, they will say, no, no, I don't want this notary. This is not good enough. You have to go to the Chamber of Commerce, and there you, through the Latin American, you can see Latin American Chamber of Commerce, through them you get it endorsed like this. And then only it is acceptable to me. Some people may say, some countries may say, no, even that is not possible, is acceptable. It is necessary to have endorsed by my embassy in your country. Like Cambodia will say, go to Delhi, pay money, and 42,000 you can see, and then you get your document endorsed there, and then only I'll believe that this is a correct one. Even Ukraine says this. There are many such countries who says this. So country to country, authentication changes, and we have to comply with that. Now, if he's saying you do apostolization, which means just I say that means endorsement by the embassy, and you are doing just notarization, the document will come back, and in the process, time up and down, money, time, and effort will be lost. So what we need before we send the documents, we must be sure what the country really wants. And when we go to the market and we check about the product price and pack, we also check the system in that country. There is a written down, laid down policy, which is displayed on the website, or even by personal inquiry, you can take the printouts. The steps are written down. If you follow that, then there is no chance of missing the gaps. Therefore, the awareness about the requirement of that country's regulatory documents are very, very important. If you know this, list it down and prepare your dossiers accordingly. The time will be saved, effort will be saved. It has so happened that you have submitted everything. Even you have submitted dossiers, samples, and even fees. And half the way you come to know that the validation data is not there, or maybe the stability data is incomplete. The money is gone, and you can't afford to wait for another time to come back. And in this process, maybe that submitted deposited money will never come back to you. You may have to submit fresh registration fees. In some countries, they say, I'll give you 2 chances of rejection. First, you will submit, I will give a notification, I'll list down what are the things you require. Second times also you submit, but if you fail second times, your dossier is fully rejected. Togo is one such country where you don't get a third chance, because they say that if you keep on in and out coming in, then our work is hampered. We can't do justice to other applicants who have submitted, and delay takes place, rightly. So the issue is total awareness, not only about the market, but also the regulatory requirement of that country, which varies country to country. And that's how you have to be doing it smartly and with less time. Remember, say one company, one product, and it is submitting dossiers to 55 countries of Africa, example. How can you explain one product in 55 ways? It is not possible. And that is what is the pressure on us. Different countries are asking different documents at different times. And that is why we get baffled. And that is why the delay takes place. So we have to select in such a manner that I have my resource factory manufacturer has all the data which I want. The country wants, destination country wants. And accordingly, you prepare the dossiers and submit it piece by piece, and you will find it is going seamlessly. So this is how verification takes place. Sometimes it has so happened, you have submitted the COPP in the month of October. And in the month of December, the COPP has expired. And the commission is sitting for discussion in the month of March next year, when they will find they're discussing on an expired document. Who is responsible for that? So if I know that I'm giving a document only with 3 months life, it is automatically going to be rejected. We must take ourselves care that this 3 months nothing is going to happen, and when it will happen, it will be an expired document. So better I submit it next year, or I revalidate right now. Then I make my dossiers accordingly. Sometimes the drug control gives a letter which is written at the bottom, the license, GMP license is under renewal, which is enough, which they accept. The ministry will accept even that. But if you give an expired document and then you expect there will be response, there will be no response, and there will be definitely disappointment. This is why the third point, is it valid? At the time of consideration, validity of the documents must be there. Most often, either sample has expired, or the COPP has expired, or the license is expired. They send it back, again you revalidate, 6 months have gone down the lane. And in the meantime, maybe one commission meeting is also over, 2 meetings are over. You fall into the third, fourth, and fifth because others are there. So in this manner, the validity and authenticity must be assured by ourselves, by self-audit before submission. And you must foresee that this kind of things may come. Our experience and the awareness must guard our intent.
Mr. Sumanta, just a minute. If there is this data has come out, if by chance the screen goes off, we request all the people to just sign in again. If by chance it goes off,
there's a technical problem. In case if the meeting stops, then we have to just join the meeting again with the same link.
Okay, if it goes off. Okay, thank you.
Okay, can I continue?
Yeah.
Are you in line? Are you listening?
Yeah, listening. Everybody's listening.
And you're finding it relevant?
Yes. See, most of Mr. Sumanta, most of them are on mute, so they will only unmute once the session is over. Don't worry on that, sir.
Okay. I was wondering whether it is meaning anything, carrying sense to them. Okay, now the verification part means the verification of the authenticity, credibility of the document, and the validity at the time of inspection. I mean, examining the documents. These are the important part. And this can happen if the batch is taken and data is available. You can simplify and it will be simpler. There will be no rejection. But many often, these deficiencies are discovered by the ministry, and that is bad. That is bad for the company. That is bad for our entire effort process that you have done. Now, the second part is the notification on queries. There will be some, whatever I've said so far is about the submission of the documents, verification, whether you are okay, have submitted all the required parameters and valid documents as per the requirement of the ministry. This part, notification, is what? They go to the document and examine what kind of technicalities are there. And those technical questions are supposed to come, will come. Most often, mostly they come, but they're not. It depends on the company how they face it. I'll give some examples of some queries. Provide summary of product characteristics with list of assignments, well-formulated phrases and doses according to the innovator. There is, the pack insert is there inside the pack, but there is also something called SPC, summary of product characteristics, which is meant for the pharmacist. Pack insert is for the patients, SPC is for the pharmacists. Pharmacist will go through this, the description of the product, everything is same, but SPC has a more elaborate description about the product, which tells what the product is. It may run into 1 page to 7 page, 8 page, depending on the product. This gives what is the composition, what is the dosage, what are the side effects, or the toxicity, and all that will come into SPC. Now, some ministry, they have noted that you have used some languages or phrases which is not matching, and then finally what he suggests, go by the innovator, go by Glaxo company, take his pack insert SPC and frame something of that standard. He's giving the standard because he found that the paper that we have document SPC we have submitted is not enough and not in line with the GMP, WHO GMP. Provide leaflet with list of excipients. We have, all APIs there, excipient is there. Some countries, they ask only APIs. Some countries now, they have started asking excipients also. Now, if your manufacturer is far in distant in Badi and you are in Bombay, so you have been happy with all the data he has given and you have submitted, but he has missed out on excipients. They asked, and it must have been listed in the